पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यः ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यः वंशर्षिभ्यः महद्भ्यः नमो गुरुभ्यः। Read the passage number 12 on the page 24. Sayatha Saindhavakhilyaः उदके प्रास्तः उदकम् एव अनुविलीयेत न हस्य उद्ग्रहणाय इव स्यात् यतो यतः त्वाददीत लवणम् एव एवं वै अरे इदं महद्भूतम् अनन्तम् अपारं विज्ञानघन एव एतेभ्यः भूतेभ्यः समुत्थाय तानि एव अनुविनश्यति न प्रेत्य संज्ञा अस्ति इत्यरे ब्रवीमि इति होवाच याज्ञवल्क्यः। So यथा सैन्दवखिल्यः उदके प्रास्तः, just as a lump of salt, udake when it is dropped in water, prastah dropped in water, udakam eva anuviliyeta, it dissolves in the water. What is meant is that what we call the lump of salt is nothing but the salt water in the lump form. Salt water has attained the form of a lump because of the contact with heat and earth or soil, and therefore when it is dropped in water, it again becomes one with this component water, because water alone has become the lump, and so the water merges into water. There is no more lumpness. Lumpness was because water was as though separated from the ocean water, and when it is dropped in there, that apparent division, apparent separateness that the lump had. So these examples should be understood. I'm sure you understood, but then they are emphasizing it again and again. That the lump and ocean are essentially one as far as the swarupa or the essential nature is concerned. The essential nature of ocean is water, and essential nature of a lump also is water. How? Because it is water alone which has acquired the form of a lump because of some extraneous factor, that water of the ocean, because it came in contact with heat and soil, and therefore the same water now appears as a lump. So even when it is lump, it is nothing but salt water. And that's the reason why when we drop that lump in salt water, water just becomes water. Doesn't become water, that apparent separateness is gone. water in form of lump as though became separate from the water in form of ocean, and when the lump is dropped in water, the apparent separateness or apparent division disappears, and what there is oneness of water. So this is the example, and so also this is a lump of consciousness. You and I, in this case Maitreyi, who stands for you and I. So Maitreyi is as though a lump of consciousness. How is that? How water became lump? Because of association with heat and soil. So also consciousness, because of association with the five elements, as though becomes a lump called jiva. So how does consciousness become associated with five elements? The five elements which are transformed in the form of the karya karana sanghata. Karya means gross body, karana means subtle body. So this personality consisting of the gross and subtle bodies is called karya karana sanghata. Is nothing but the transformation of five elements. So I guess you know that the five elements in the subtle state and in the gross state. So five elements in the subtle, this is how the evolution is explained or creation is explained in Vedanta. That first what there is Brahman or Ishvara. From that then the five elements Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Pasavi. तस्माद्वा एतस्माद् आत्मनः आकाश संभवः संभूतः आकाशाद् वायु वायु अग्नि. So the creation process described as from Brahman or consciousness emerge these five elements: the akasha, vayu, the space, air, fire, water, earth. First they were in subtle state, and then those five elements combined with each other to become the five gross elements. So we have this personality consisting of a subtle body which is inside the gross body. So what makes this gross body sentient is the presence of this subtle body inside. Just as what makes this bulb glow is the presence of electricity inside. Or better, what makes this fan rotate is the presence of a motor inside. You don't see the motor, but then if the motor is not there, the fan will not rotate. So electricity first passes through motor. The motor is energized by electricity. Energy is in turn transferred to the blades, and the blades turn. So these blades are sort of equivalent to our gross body. The motor stands for our subtle body. Electricity is like the self, consciousness. So consciousness enlivens subtle body, and that in turn enlivens the gross body. This is the product of the five elements. The subtle body is the product of the five elements in the subtle state, and gross body is the product of the five elements in their gross state. Therefore, this karya karana sanghata, or this complex of the gross and subtle bodies, is the product of five elements. It is important to know that part because that is what is mentioned in Etebhya, Bhutebhya, Samuthaya. Just as the ocean water becomes a lump on account of association with, let's say, soil and heat, so also consciousness becomes this lump called such and such individual because of the association with the five elements in the form of the gross and the subtle bodies. The consciousness becomes this individual Jivatma who stands, the Maitreyi stands for the Jivatma, the individual self. And that individual self is nothing but the consciousness in association with the five elements. So in the class also is listening to his phone, I guess. Amazing persons, but anyway. So here, the just as so the consciousness in association with these five elements, which is gross and subtle bodies, has as though become a lump called jiva. What is association? Identification. Conscious, anantam, aparam. So prajnana, ganaha, anantam, aparam. It is boundless, it is endless, it is limitless. The limitless consciousness, on account of the association with this body mind sense complex, has as though become a lump called the Jivatma. So, who is Jivatma? That is you and I. Nothing but the consciousness that is limitless, alone is as though become this lump. It's very important to understand that it is ocean water that as though become the lump of salt, nothing else. And so it is consciousness alone that has as though become this Jivatma. The ocean water became lump because of association with the soil and heat. The consciousness became this lump called Jivatma because of association with the gross and subtle bodies. So that is, lump is an example. How water alone as though becomes the lump. It does not become the lump because if it became lump, then it will not go back to the state of water. So even when it appears as lump, it is nothing but the ocean water. So also this one here, when it appears as lump, an individual jivatma, it is nothing but the consciousness which appears like a lump because of association with the karyakarana sanghata or the gross and subtle bodies. So this much Vedanta is expected here to be known by us. That this is called karyam, the gross body, and the product of. So you'll get bored. Those who know this will get bored listening to this. But I'm afraid that there are some who do not know also, perhaps. So this gross body is called karyam, product of five gross elements, and subtle body is called karanam, product of five subtle elements. Same five elements in the subtle state that form the subtle body, same five elements in the gross state form the gross body. So just as ocean water, because of association with the soil and heat, becomes lump, as though, so consciousness, because of association with this gross and subtle bodies, becomes this lump called Jivatma, called Maitreyi here. And Maitreyi stands for each one of us. So what it is Vijnana Ganaha, what it is nothing but pure consciousness. So if you go to page 25 of your handout, in line 14, a question is asked there, यदि idam ekam advaitam paramarthatah swacham. If you say that what is only this non-duality, the absolute reality. So Vedanta says what is nothing but consciousness. But what about all these, names and forms and all these tangible entities that we see? Nothing but consciousness. When consciousness becomes stable, answer is yes. Consciousness becomes chair, yes. Consciousness alone becomes table and chair and fan and ceiling and wall and columns and how can we, Swami? Where is consciousness there? So Vedanta will say that take any of these tangible entities such as a pot. Consciousness becomes this pot. Because when you split this part or divide this part into components, what are the components? Five. Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Nama, Rupa. The part has these five aspects. Asti, that part is. Bhati, that part shines in our awareness. Name part. Rupa, form of part. And so also this class called Pata. Asti, Bhati, Priyam, and name and form. So name and form is called the vehicle or the upadhi in which Asti, Bhati, Priyam manifest. So the Asti consciousness alone is called Asti, Bhati, Priyam, and has as though taken many of these forms, names and forms to manifest itself. Just as water manifests in various waves, just as gold manifests as various ornaments, and so also Asti, Bhati, Priyam consciousness manifests as all these names and forms. So what you see is ocean of consciousness, in which there are waves of names and forms. So who am I? I am a wave in the ocean of consciousness. Who are you? A wave in the ocean of consciousness. What is this table? Another wave in the ocean of consciousness. Even these walls and columns and ceiling, even the inner things also, nothing but the waves in consciousness. But how do you say, what is consciousness? Asti, Bhati, Priyam is called consciousness. That's the reason why you take any object, then it reduces to name and form, manifests Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Every name and form is nothing but the vehicle for manifestation of Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Just as when you see these waves, every wave is manifestation of the water. Those icebergs in the ocean, each iceberg is nothing but the name and form manifesting water. Even this is consciousness, Swami. Consciousness solidified into this tangible name and form. Consciousness solidified on the tangible. Because why is it so? Because when you examine this entity which looks like a tangible, solid entity, when you examine what it is and subdivide it into component and component and component and component, keep on dividing it and dividing, what will happen, You keep dividing, then it becomes, form becomes subtler and subtler and subtler and subtler. A time comes when the form becomes so subtle, it disappears. That is what the scientists also do, subdivide and subdivide and subdivide. They say that now the fundamental block making of this part is called, what is the particle? God particle, the boson particle, whatever. So this is the building block. But Vedantin, what does it say is a building block? Not this boson particle. What's the building block? Asti Bhat. Understand this. Asti Bhati Priyam, or consciousness is the building block of whatever tangible entities there are. No, Swami, consciousness is intangible. This is tangible. But then the scientists say that energy itself becomes this tangible matter. Is it not so? So this energy becomes tangible matter. We say consciousness becomes tangible matter. With their instruments, all they can go up to is energy. With our instruments of mind or Upanishad, we can go a stage further and say that what is this consciousness? That's called prajnana ghana, a mass of consciousness. What is mass? Mass means which admits of nothing but consciousness. Bhashyakara example just as Suvarna Ghana, like a mass of gold, Ayo Ghana, like a mass of iron, so also Prajnana Ghana, a mass of consciousness that admits nothing but consciousness. So this is mass of, but Swami, there are so many things that are not conscious. No, everything is consciousness alone in a given name and form. In idam ekam advaitam paramada swacham samsara dukha sampruktam. If you say all there is nothing but one consciousness, it is ever pure. Is describing us, if this is indeed ever pure, who? I and you. No, sorry, I am not pure. You don't know what's in my mind. This body is very, if you read Viveka Chudamani, it describes what this body is made of miserable things like the blood and this and that, and such, it's very impure. That's why when the life departs, you don't touch that body. So body is impure, blood is impure, flesh is impure, everything is impure. How do you say this is pure mass of consciousness? Idam ekam advaitam paramata swacham. If in reality, understand what I'm saying this is nothing but the pure consciousness, unaffected by any samsara or any, meaning hunger and thirst and heat and cold. Parama, such absolutely pure in reality, in nature. Samsara dukkha asampruktam, untouched by any dukkha or any sorrow of samsara. Kin nimittoyam khilyabhavatmana. What's the reason why the Atma has become this little lump called Jivatma? I'm reading this Bhashya. And now this poor fellow has become a lump. Jato mrutaha sukhi dukhi aham mama ityavam adi lakshana. I was born, I'm dying, I'm happy, I'm unhappy, this is I, that's mine. Where did this come from? If according to you all there is nothing but pure consciousness, then where did this lumpness come from? Which is all affected by all samsara dharma of birth and death and growth and heat and cold and honor and dishonor and success and failure. Miserable life, samsara dharma. Most only success is good, failure is not good. When you call yourself successful, you're preparing for someday. I'm branding myself successful. That is nothing but the preparation for someday branding myself as failure. Anyway, so what I'm this is all. So this samsara, where this will lump come from? Kin nimittoyam, so aneka samsara dharma upadrutayati. Upadrama, which is bothered by, attacked by all these samsara dharmas. Where did it come from? If there is consciousness, ever pure, one without a second, ever free, ever beautiful, ever pure, where do you get this lump which is opposite in nature? It is limited, impure, dukkhi, affected by all the limitations and the suffering of samsara. Uchyate. Upanishad explains that. In the passage number 12, etebhyah bhutebhyah samuthaya. Just as a lump of salt arose from the water because of association with heat and soil, this lump called the Jivatma arose from the water of consciousness because of association with ignorance. So consciousness in association with so what does ignorance do? In our life, ignorance has been saying has two aspects, avarana and vikshepa. Ignorance, first of all, veils my essential nature that I am Brahman, and vikshepa in there creates in me a notion that I am a limited jiva. So who says I am a limited jiva? The consciousness says. Why does it say? Because that consciousness identifies itself with this body, mind, sense complex and feels a sense of confinement and says, I am a jiva. That I am belongs to in the morning. When I am happy, I am unhappy, the I am, what is the nature of I am? Subject, consciousness. Where is happy, unhappy? Nature of mind. So I am is subject, happy, unhappy is object. You remember the first statement of the Bhashya in the Brahma Sutra? That Sukhi Dukhi, happy and happy is Yushmat Pratyaya. I am is Asmat Pratyaya. So they are in different locations and still we have merged, we have lumped them together. So when it's I am happy, the happy belongs to the mind, which is object. I am is a subject. When it's I am happy, I have created a miracle by lumping together the impossible things of subject and object. But that is what is happening in our life because of ignorance. That is how Vedanta explains the way we feel. Swami, you say that I am Brahman. I feel always very limited. I feel helpless. I feel. How can Brahman feel like that? See, the way we think of ourselves is so contrary to what they say we are. They say, you are Brahman. Where is it? What is my experience? My experience is I am limited in every way. He says, you are limitless. Yes, there is something limited. What is it? This body, mind, sense complex. So I am the body. The I am is Brahman, the limitless, and body is limited, and we lump them together. And that's how this ocean called I am becomes a lump called happy. When you say I am happy, I am Jiva, I am a man, then I am is ocean of consciousness. The man is this lump, the body, mind, sense complex. By combining them, now is a lump called I am a man, I am a woman. Please understand that this is how Vedanta explains the way we feel about ourselves. Only when we understand that, that is when the solution will become clear to us. When we understand the problem, then what is the problem, Swami? The only problem we have in our life is problem of sadness, unhappiness, sorrow, sadness, limitedness, helpless, all different words for the same thing. I am not happy, Swami, I am helpless, I am limited, I am. So Vedanta explains, how does that sense of limitedness come? Because I am is limitless. That limitless proclaims that I am limited. How does it happen? Because the limitless somehow identifies with the limited body-mind complex and then says, I am born, I am dying, I am growing, I am old. But I am is what? The consciousness. The old is here in the body. These two things are lumped together. So all we need to do is to vivek or separate them. They are not together, but we have merged them, lumped them together, and thus the viveka. That look, that body, that I was born, the body was born. I'm growing old, the body is growing old. I'm dying, the body is dying. I'm sad, the mind is sad. I'm successful, the ego is successful. In all of this, I am is unattached to all of them because I am can take any form. I am can become successful, I am can become failure, I am can become happy, I am can become unhappy, I am can become troll. So, like this crystal. Whatever color of cloth you place beside the crystal, that is how the color of the crystal will appear the same as the color of this. Now, if I put another cloth, the crystal appears of a orange color. And if I put another, now crystal appears what color? Does it appear yellow? Okay. How does it appear now? Blue. How does it appear now? Green. One crystal now appearing green, then appearing yellow, then appearing blue, then appearing red. Please tell me, what's the color of crystal? Is it red or yellow or blue or green? When a thing keeps on changing its nature, it must be different from all the changes, is it not so? The changes are not inherent in crystal, changes are because of something else that is besides the crystal. Crystal appears to change, crystal does not change, but the cloth, color of the cloth keeps on changing, therefore creates an appearance that the crystal is changing. Crystal remains ever transparent, ever pure, so also you and I, the self, ever transparent, ever pure, ever free. But this is the cloth. This body, mind, sense complex is cloth. In Sanskrit, they call upadhi, Vedanta, that it has to impart its attributes. Like the cloth imparts its attributes to crystal, so also this body, mind, sense complex, as though imparts its attributes to the I am, and thus I look at myself in the mirror of my mind and see I am blue, I am yellow. This crystal would suffer, poor thing. If crystal looked at itself in the mirror, I am blue, I am yellow, I am red, I am green. Why should it suffer? Because it wants to be colorless. The crystal wants to be colorless and find itself green. I don't like myself. Itself blue. I don't like myself. Red. I don't like myself. Why? Because it wants to be colorless. Similarly, I also want to be colorless, free from all limitations. And I find myself a man, woman, limited by manhood, womanhood, this hood, that hood. I don't like myself. When the crystal looks at itself in the mirror and finds that I don't like myself. Why? Because it wants to be colorless. So I look at myself and find myself that I'm tall. I don't like. I'm short. I'm fair. I'm dark. I'm man. I'm woman. I'm this, that, and whatever. I do not like myself. No, Swamiji, I'm very happy. I make up myself and then you see and then I appear. So you think so. But the limitless can never like itself when it finds itself limited, just as the crystal, which is transparent and clear, when it finds itself colored, it cannot like itself. So I don't like myself. So you may not like yourself, I like myself. We bless you that you like yourself. Then you solve all the problems. If you like yourself, all problems are solved. All problems arise from not liking myself. The one that I have most problem with is myself. I am most demanding of I should be this and I should be that. I keep on demanding myself and I'm not able to live up to my own expectation. I expect myself to be perfect. I expect myself to be limitless. I expect myself to be right all the time. I expect myself to be successful all the time and I'm not. Therefore, I fail to live up to my own expectation of myself. Human problem. The crystal, transparent, clear crystal finds itself colored, and so also limitless consciousness finds itself limited. So that is the cause of the conflicts in self non-acceptance. Basic problem is self non-acceptance. I do not accept myself because I am not happy with myself. Swami, you keep on thrusting this upon us. Who says that I'm not happy, man? Think about it. If you're happy with yourself, there'll be no unhappiness or sorrow in life. And that is what we want. We want you to be happy with yourself. By recognizing that the true nature of self is always likable. What I think I am may be not likable by me, that this body, mind, but what I am, namely the ocean of consciousness, always likable. That's what Vedanta wants us to recognize who we are, so that we find ourselves likable. That's it. When I start liking myself, the problem is solved. Yeah, but I may not like. When I like myself, I like everything. Happy with myself, I'll be happy with everything. And I'll be happy with myself when I find myself perfect, which is what I am. And that's why Vedanta wants to recognize, hey, you are perfect. You're not this body, mind. This is just a medium vehicle. This is the costume that you worn for these day-to-day activities in life. Don't judge yourself by costume. Actor is a multimillionaire and he judges himself by the costume of beggar. He is miserable. So this is called the lump called Jivatma. And that is because of identification with this upadhi made of 5 elements. Therefore, etebhya, bhutebhya, it arises from this body. When he comes out of these 5 elements, comes out of this upadhi. What is coming out, Swamiji? Wise person comes out of the upadhi? The text says when he comes out of this upadhi of 5 elements, then he finds himself happy, free. The wise person comes out of this. He stands there and then looks here. No, you're not in to begin with. And that I'm in the upadhi is only because of identification upadhi. Therefore, recognizing that I'm ever free. Etebhya, bhutebhya, samuthaya, arising from this upadhi of 5 elements, meaning that giving up identification with the upadhi. Entering the upadhi is establishing identification, and arising from it is giving up identification. It is like this. When we say talking about the pot space, the space entering the pot, or I should say the space identifying with the pot calls itself pot space. Understand that there is no entity, there is no such entity as pot space. If pot space is there, then when I move this pot space should remain here. Here. But there is no entity called pot space. All there is space. Pot space is a notion that this space has in its mind. because of identification of the part. And therefore, this part spaces over arise from the part. The part space entering the part becomes the space entering the part becomes part space. The space arising from part becomes free. The space entering the part, identifying the part becomes part space, and arising from the part meaning giving up identifying the part becomes space. Meaning that the notion of part space was a notion identifying with the part. So that is how when we do the viveka called Atmanatma Viveka, realize that the body mind sense complex is non-self. I am the very witness. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. Nacha shrotra jihve, nacha ghrana netre, nacha vyomhumir na tejo na vayuhu, chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. Manaha buddhi ahankara chitta. I am not. Shrotram, the organs of perception, I am not. The organs of action, I am not. The body, I am not. How do you say you are not? Because they are the object of my awareness. I am aware of the body. I am aware of the sense organs. I am aware of the organs of action. I am aware of the mind. Therefore, I am their witness. Separate from them. Chidananda Rupa. Shivoham Chidananda Rupa. Nature consciousness, Ananda. This is called Samuttaya. This is called arising from the body. Meaning that becoming free from the identification of the body. Etebhya bhutebhya samuttaya, arising from these bhutas, from the upadhi of five elements. Taneva anuvinashati, along with these five elements, this sense of individuality also goes away. Na pretya sanyasti. Hey Maitreyi, after departing from this body, there is no sanya, there is no particular consciousness. So this is what confuses Maitreyi. And so Maitreyi asks a question, what do you mean? There is no consciousness? Pretya, after departing from his body, there is no consciousness. So Maitreyi thought, I'm departing from his body? I lose my consciousness, my individuality. So tomorrow we'll discuss what is meant by not departing from the body in a physical sense, becoming free from identification of the body. The sanya that I am Swami so and so, so Swami belongs to what? Belongs to the body? When I claim that I am Swami, what am I doing? I am only imposing upon myself the sanya or the identification which belongs to the body. I call myself Swami, a man, a woman, by superimposing on myself the identification, the name and form that belongs to this costume, to the upadhi. Pretya, when you depart from this body, meaning that when you become free from identification, not so this pretya has confused Maitreyi. Pretya means dying. Pretya. Preta means one who has departed. Hey Maitreyi, when you depart from this body, no sanya, there is no consciousness. So these words mean that way. After departing from his body, there is no consciousness. So Maitreyi was concerned. You mean I will not have consciousness? Departing from his body? But that is not. So Maitreyi expresses the confusion. Next passage, and Yajnavalkya explains here. We'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakrutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurte. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. This evening satsang will be conducted by Swami Prajnanandi at 8 o'clock. So when you ask your questions, you address Swamiji with your questions so that